What's up, everybody? Welcome to the 3 Championship Drive podcast hosted by me, Lance Caporossi. Summer League happened. Summer League happened earlier today. We're going to get into the game, but something has been on my mind for probably about 2 days now, and it was just my wife walking in on like a little guilty pleasure the other night. And this was me playing College Hoops 2K8. And when I say I play, I'm not actually playing the game. I just coach the games. I do their coach mode. I've done a closed legacy. So ridiculous. With the St. Francis of New York, and I'm in year 3. Now, I did not do anything for the first 2 years. I just simmed and recruited. And I had like 18 wins out of the first 2 years. But this year's looking pretty promising for me and the squad. And yeah, I just coach the games. They're fun. You just call plays. You figure out matchups. You make substitutions. Like, that's literally it. But they play the game on TV. So I thought she was asleep because my wife is one of these people. It's like, if it's 9:30, I'm going to be in bed. But she's just been scrolling on YouTube lately. She'd probably hate me for saying that. But anyways, so I thought she was asleep. So then she comes out in the living room and she's like, "What is this?" And I said, "This is 2K College Hoop." She's like, "Yeah, but what's going on?" She's like, "You're not playing?" I was like, "No, I'm playing." She's like, "But you don't have the controller in your hand." And she's like, "So are you just," and she starts laughing. And she's like, "Are you just watching the video game play? This is just an animated college basketball game." I'm like, yeah, I let them play because I can't, with a controller, I feel like you're limited in this game. And also, I'm 35. Like, the new 2Ks and the controls, I'm so much more comfortable with the way the new two. Obviously, we don't have a college game, but I'm more comfortable with the controls today. So, like, going back and playing, it was just too frustrating for me. So I thought coaching was the next best option. And my wife, sure, most people that are a basketball nerd like myself can enjoy coaching a virtual game, and they probably understand. Yeah, my wife or my partner, they wouldn't understand either. They just don't. We're more complicated creatures than what they give us credit for. I just want to enjoy my simulated college basketball, going back in time. I want to recruit my boys, get them on the team, make them better, and get them into 2K8 NBA and see how their careers play out in the animated NBA universe. That's what I want. That's all that I want, is to build a dynasty in college and have it carry over to the NBA. That's what I want to do. There's nothing more that I want to do right now than just build a dynasty. That's what I want. And that's what I'm doing in 2K. Regardless of the laughs, I will continue to build my program up, and we will find a way out of the ashes. And I'm changing St. Francis of New York's. They're not even I don't even think they have a basketball program anymore. I know they're not a D1 sport. I believe, I don't know if they're D2 or D3, maybe even another level, maybe even NAI. Maybe it happens. I don't know. But I believe they don't even have a basketball program. So I'm changing their future in this video game. Summer League Game 2, my thoughts. Now, I'm going to be honest. I did not watch this game because I was at my mother-in-law's house, and she forbids basketball games being played on TV. She doesn't care if you're dribbling a ball outside, but she'll be damned if there's a game on her TV. I don't know what happened, but she forbids it. My mother-in-law would not approve of that at all because she does not care. Like, she is the most generous person with anything. She could crack open like a fresh water. It may be the only one in the house, but if you say, "Hey, can I get a sip? Can I get that?" She'll be like, "Sure." So just give it to you. So yeah, she would definitely watch. It was just more of me. I completely forgot this game was being played at like 4 o'clock. But anyways, I've watched the full highlights multiple times. I've read people's comments. I've checked the box score and I have it pulled up. And that makes me feel like I am more qualified to talk about Summer League Game 2 than someone who actually watched the game. I feel like I've done enough outside of actually watching the game. And according to some comments, the highlights made it look like it was a spectacle. Like it was just back and forth. But according to the comments, the game wasn't really that good, and they were happy when the game ended. But Ebuka, 14 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, 7 steals, 3 turnovers. I believe he went 5 of 18 from the field. He's going to have his struggles. He's learning the big boy game of the NBA. He's figuring out what he needs to do. But he looked good. He looked fast. He looked twitchy. He looked shifty. He looked like he was really trying to get guys involved. I love that there were a lot of possessions where I felt like he could have pulled up either for a 3 or maybe a mid-range jumper. I felt like he did a very good job of creating space. But I don't know if it was like the coaches talking to him or something, but I felt like someone got in his head and said, you really need to learn how to finish at the rim because this is the NBA where guys are bigger, they're faster, they're the best of the best. So you need to figure out how to finish at the rim like this game and any other game you play going forward in Summer League. Focus on attacking the rim, using your speed, using that incredible wingspan that you have, and figure out how to finish at the rim. And I felt like he did a good job. I know he got stuffed on like a dunk attempt, but overall, I felt like he did a good job of getting at the rim. And I just feel like we're witnessing someone that is serious about their game, serious about the way they play, serious about how they're viewed, and they're going to do everything they can when they get into the gym to improve and be a serious professional basketball player. That's what I feel like we're witnessing with Ebuka. Maybe that doesn't make sense to you, but it makes sense to me, so I'm going to stick with it. He looks like a serious player, and he looks like he's going to be a serious player for a long time. I just love the ability. He didn't settle for jump shots. He got to the rim. He got players involved. I know he had 7 steals, but not all of them were playing with active hands and playing the passing lanes. There were quite a few loose ball steals he got. But I felt like overall his defense was pretty good. Enough of him. Chaz Lanier had 17 points in 6 minutes. He went 7 of 12 from the three-point line, not in the 6 minutes, but overall he finished with 25 points. He had a good game. He had a good game shooting the ball, 9 of 17 overall. Again, 12 of those were from the three-point line. 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 turnovers, 1 steal. But he did it in 30 minutes. He was just on fire. I know he was pegged as an outside shooter coming in to the NBA. I just feel like he's so inconsistent. That's it. I think he was around 38% in the G League on 8 attempts. That's the G League. He only shot around 23% in the NBA for the Pistons. Again, small sample size. He really wasn't great his rookie year. I personally didn't see any flashes that got me excited. I don't know how much longer he will be a Piston. It's a cool moment for him to do this in Summer League because it definitely shows that there is talent. It's just some guys just don't pan out. And Chaz Lanier, great last name, just doesn't feel like he's going to be here for a long time. Things could change. That was probably the best that we've seen of Chaz Lanier getting NBA quote-unquote minutes. Because obviously in Summer League, you're not playing against all NBA talent because not everybody can make a roster. But he looked good. Again, 25 points on 17 shots in 30 minutes. I mean, he's the 12th man. I don't know why I'm spending this much time talking about him. If you're really rooting for him, you're rooting for him just to be a part of the rotation and be on the active roster throughout the season. I just don't think it's going to happen for Chaz Lanier. If you were to ask me, did you buy stock in Chaz Lanier based off this game, I would tell you no. I did not buy any stock in Chaz Lanier. I'll tell you who I did buy stock in, and it's not changing. I've been saying all offseason, Yagana Anyesno. I probably just butchered his name. But look, I'm trying. But 5 points, 8 rebounds, 5 blocks. He did have 4 turnovers, but he also had a 3. That was encouraging. That was really cool. It's fun to see the big guy get some shots up. But, man, the blocks, they were impressive. He did not look scared to be out on the floor. He looked like in 2 years, he could be getting 12 minutes a game for the Pistons. I do think there's a steep learning curve for him, and I think he's going to play a lot of minutes in the G League. Hopefully towards the end of the season we get to see him in a Pistons uniform. That would be really cool. There's just a steep learning curve, but defensively, I do think there is a outside chance he can be a part of the rotation. I think the defense is going to be good in the NBA. And if it's not good for Detroit, he will be good for somebody else. I am buying stock in Ugana. Like, I'm buying stock in him. I think he's going to be good. I don't think he's going to be great. I don't think he's going to make any all-defensive teams. But I do think that there is a role for a guy as a defensive specialist in the NBA. Like, I don't think he'll provide much offensively, if at all, or ever. Maybe he gets consistent enough to be like a quote-unquote stretch 5 because he has the ability to stretch the floor. But I don't know. I'm buying the stock on the defense. I think that's legit, and I think he's going to be serviceable. I shouldn't even say good. I think he's going to be serviceable for years to come. Just not right away. Isaac Jones, I do think we should mention, because he still is on a 2-way contract with the Pistons. 16 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 turnover, 1 steal. He went 2 for 9 from the field, but got to the foul line 7 times. You know, Isaac Jones, again, nice. It's a fun story. I do like his game. I think he's fun to watch. He definitely reminds me of someone that's just going to ball out at like the YMCA or 24 or an LA Fitness or whatever. Like, he definitely has that type of game where I'm like, dude, I think I could model my game after I think I could. He's fun to watch. I don't think there's if I'm going to guess, I'm going to guess we don't see him in a Pistons uniform unless like we are depleted on the active roster with injury. Like, we are just hit with injuries and the active players are just dropping off like flies. But yeah, Isaac Jones, cool. It was fun to see him. I know he's all G League. I think he made a all G League team this past season for the Crews. That's really cool. But Bryce Williams, real quick, just want to mention him. Started the game 6 of 9 from the field, all from the 3-point line, finished with 21 points, got to the free throw line 4 times. I might have said, so all 9 of his shots came from the 3-point line. Then he had 3 free throws. He also finished with 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 turnovers, a steal, and a block. Dude, he looked good for a ball, dude. Out there, just he's a sniper, man. I think we were all calling him a ball hog after the first quarter from what I saw on Reddit. But yeah, dude, if he didn't hit those 6 threes, we probably don't win this game. And it's always fun to leave Summer League with a win. I don't have too many thoughts on Summer League. Again, it is Summer League. We're not going to see a lot of these guys. They're just going to be a footnote in Pistons history. I'm glad we got to mention them. I'm glad to get an opportunity. It is a lot of fun. There was something John Wall was talking about in one of the highlights for a brief second, and it just got me thinking, like, how many of these guys are in the NBA that were not the top of their class? It's just so interesting to me because you think you have it all figured out. Like, you can go down and look at all the high school All-Americans and look at the top 100 rankings every single year, and you think you have it figured out. You think you're going to be watching these guys for like a decade plus after they play in college. It just doesn't happen. It's fun to see some of these guys and like know that they weren't ranked highly and they're playing in the NBA. For anybody that's still younger than 35 that has hoop dreams, keep working at it, man. Like, it's pretty cool. Maybe I'll get to talk about you one day. I don't know. I hope you continue to shoot the ball in the driveway and you continue to get better and you play for the Pistons one day. But then it got me thinking, like, I don't think I've ever played against someone where I thought they belonged in the NBA. I've played with some good players. I've got to play against some former D1 basketball players, some guys that played NAIA, D2, D3, you get the idea. I did get to see a former Chicago Bull. Like, I don't even remember his name, and he was like a practice squad player. I'll get on about the Pistons here in a second because there's a few more things I want to talk about. But I remember seeing him in a church league here in Kalamazoo, which was crazy. Like, the dude was just, he didn't break a sweat. It was all jumpers. I'm pretty sure he was wearing blue jeans when he did it too. It was just phenomenal how good he was. There was one guy I played against. His name was Charles, and he was a couple years younger than me. I think when I was like 25, he was like 22 or 23. Now, he is someone, from what I've heard, he was kind of an asshole to me, to be honest with you. Like, I remember we were running in transition, and it was a 2-on-1. I threw the ball to head to this guy named Taz, and he goes up, he misses the layup, and Taz was a great basketball player. He was phenomenal. But I come out, and I jump up. I'm still running in transition because, you know, I was always taught, just run it through. And I'm going for the putback. Next thing you know, I feel hands on my lower back, and just boom, man, I get shoved out of bounds. It was this dude, Charles. And he was a little bigger than me, and he's like, oh, man, my bad. And I'm like, no, you totally did that. So I remember, and I'm 6 foot even. And I remember just telling the guys, like, dude, just let him through. I'm not a post player, but I'm going to make sure I'm near the rim to get at least one good shot at the ball, quote unquote. And after that, he had respect. But he was really good, and I heard that he tried out for, I think it was like the Grand Rapids Drive at the time, and they told him, like, dude, you're good, like, you're real good, but, man, you're selfish, and you're kind of they've told him he was an asshole. So this was just a dude playing church league pickup basketball with us every Wednesday night, and he was an exceptional basketball player. But really with my story was he wasn't exceptional enough to be in the NBA, but he was good enough to where the G League was like, yeah, dude, you're pretty good, supposedly. This did not come from him. This was just what other people had been talking about. But he's probably, I won't even say he's the closest, but it just goes to say there's a lot of basketball players out there, and you're probably never going to run into an NBA talent on the floor unless you know that they've played in the NBA. But, like, I just love how, despite there being so many basketball players on the floor, so many guys playing the game, so many people playing the game, and, like, how many guys go unnoticed for so long, turn out to be really good in the NBA and have like 10 years. It's just, it's so cool. I don't know. My mind is blown. Dwane Casey, the Pistons advisor, discusses Jalen Duren's playoff struggles during the G League. And he said, now this is, you can watch the video. It's on Reddit. He said Jalen Duren, he showed us that he can be dominant, he can protect the paint, he can be a big-time lob threat, but he needs to learn how to make plays from the short roll pocket, and he's learning how to handle playoff teams bringing an extra defender to take away the lob. Yeah, I mean, Dwane Casey pointed to his age of 22 and saying, hey, look, it takes a while to learn these things and pick up on these things. Yeah, you're right. I think most of us know that. I think most of us that watch the playoff games could pick up that the opposing defense was taking certain things away from Jalen Duren. And I don't know. Again, my mind's not blown with any of this information. I've watched the games. Like, I'm not saying Dwane Casey probably forgot more about basketball than I know. But, like, this was nothing new. I'm glad they asked him, and I'm glad the guy, whoever was interviewing, pushed on a little bit where it's like, you said you know what he could be, so what is it? And that's really what I wanted to talk about. Like, there was nothing new, and he's like, I just wish he would have gave us a little bit more when he was asked that question. I felt like it was a good opportunity for Dwane Casey to, I don't know, maybe put some of our minds at ease. That's all. Kenny Atkinson I feel like this broadcast was all Cavaliers. But the East got better, and Cavaliers head coach Kenny Atkinson says analytically they can win every game. Unbelievable that with analytics they could win every game. I'm kidding, though. He actually didn't say that. But he did say it's going to be a dogfight. And I've always wondered, like, what do they mean when they say dogfight? Like, are they actually trying to tell me to picture two dogs fighting with, like, boxing gloves on? Is that what they're talking about? Or just two guys that you're just like, man, those dudes are dogs. Like how I've said on this podcast a few times, like that dude just has the dog in him. I don't even know what that means, but it sounds cool. But it's going to be a dogfight, according to Kenny Atkinson. Can't say that I agree because I don't really know exactly what he's talking about when he says a dogfight. But I do think it's going to be a gauntlet. I think it's going to be real tough during the regular season. Like there's going to I didn't even realize how good the East was last year. I got to look this up again, but there were two teams that, dude, I watch the games, but I'm still amazed at the standings every year. I got to say, too, I do love Basketball Reference, but man, sometimes when you're just trying to find something, they're the absolute worst. But here it is. Okay, the Heat had 43 wins. You could argue, did they get better with Giannis? Probably. Hornets, 44 wins. Magic, 45. Sixers, 45. They got better. Hawks with 46. I forgot the Hawks had 46 wins. Raptors with 46, and obviously they got better with Kawhi. Cavaliers at 52. Knicks with 53. Celtics with 56. Pistons with 60. And then you had the team like the Bucks and the Bulls. They had 32 and 31 wins. They were nowhere near making the playoffs, but I feel like the East hasn't been this good in a long time, and the East this year is only going to be better. I wonder, a team might have to have 45 or 46 wins to make the playoffs. Sounds crazy saying that, but man, this is going to be a gauntlet next year. I'm waiting for the regular season. And I hope the Pistons get a little grace and get a nice little, a pocket or a window of games where they can go on a nice little win streak and stack the wins up to make the playoffs. But you would think you're going from you're a 60-win team last year. You've made some decisions about the team that we're going to have to see how they play out. But you can't be thinking you're going to be another 60-win team. We as fans can think that. That's fine. We're not held responsible at all for the outcome of the season. Man, I don't know. 60 wins. I think the Pistons will be a playoff team for sure. But man, it is going to be fun next year. It's going to be a bloodbath. That's the word I was looking for. Bloodbath in the Eastern Conference. All right, I've been rambling, talking a lot. It was a kind of a short week or a weird week. There wasn't really a whole lot of news. Thank God for Summer League. I'm hoping we get some news about Jalen Duren this week. I cannot wait any longer. I just want to know what happens with my Detroit Pistons. That's it. And when the news happens, I'll be jumping on a podcast to deliver that news. Or at least share my thoughts. Probably not deliver the news. The news will be breaking. I probably won't even find out about the news until 2 hours after it happens. But just know that there will be a podcast coming the next day when that news breaks. Anyways, thank you for listening to the 3 Championship Drive podcast. Do me a favor. Hit subscribe. Hit the follow button. Rate, review. But more importantly, tell a Pistons fan